It's week 2 of the Pantheon, where you'll have 5 bosses to defeat to get that special Exalted Oryx emblem and your choice of King's Fall gear. Since only one boss got added, Oryx, we will mainly go over the changes and strats for that encounter, as well as tips to the weekly increase in difficulty. If you want advice and a refresher for the 4 previous encounters, check out my previous Pantheon guide. Now let's get started. When you hover over the Pantheon mode, you'll now see it has selectable difficulty options. If this is your first time and you want to see if this mode is for you, feel free to toggle it back to week 1's A-Track Sovereign to be only 5 under power. This is also handy for those completing each of the triumphs, as the encounter completion and high score requirements are specific for each difficulty. So if you missed the high score on Caretaker last week, you'll still have to rerun last week's difficulty. Along with the additional boss, this version of Pantheon gets an increased power delta to that of -10. Looking at this handy chart by the great Mossy Max, of whom you should definitely follow on Twitter for all your Destiny science needs, we see that at base we are now dealing 26% less damage and taking in increased 32% damage over at-level raids. However, the damage loss can still be overcome by utilizing the active surges, which this week's are Solar and Stasis, and the special Pantheon modifiers. So 2-phasing most bosses and 1-flooring Atreks is still more than doable. You just need to coordinate with your team and utilize the best tools for the job. Last week, we also had the Class Warfare modifier, which is still around but unique to the Atrek Sovereign version. For Oryx Exalted, the new Shot Caller modifier is active. Upon scoring multiple precision hits with a primary ammo weapon, your special and heavy weapons will get a 20% damage boost, and you'll get 20% extra damage resistance for 15 seconds. The activation seems to be 3 precision hits from any primary weapon, and you can refresh the buff by getting another crit while it's active. Unlike Class Warfare, it doesn't increase in potency and it isn't granted to other players, so you'll have to remember to activate it going into damage phases. But this modifier does stack with other damage and resistance buffs, like Surges and Resilience. Before Oryx, let's talk changes and damage strategies for the other encounters. Since this week's surges are Solar and Stasis, you should match your weapons and damage supers accordingly. You don't need to, but you are then just leaving an easy 25% damage buff on the table. In the first encounter Golgoroth, you're mainly looking at Cataclysmic, Briar's Contempt, or Sleeper Simulant if you're taking the safe precision route, or Apex Predator and Galahorn if you're trying to maximize damage. For the Caretaker encounter, those weapons are still good, but 1000 Voices or Merciless are also great. For supers, go nuts with a Pyrogale boosted Burning Maul or a boosted version of Golden Gun or Blade Barrage. Turning to the Explicator of Planets, everything mentioned previously will work just fine. The difficulty mainly comes from the power delta, so the Tornadoes and Tormentors will hurt, and it will start to get harder to get the 2-phase. Have ideally one Will of Radiance you can place in the middle right before damage starts, out-heal the Tornadoes during damage, and then avoid them after the damage phase. You can get your ammo once they despawn. Lastly, for Atreks 1, Parasite is your go-to pick for a damage weapon, but Grand Overture and Lament are still great backups. For supers, Thunder Crash, Blade Barrage, and Needle Storm. And remember, for any of these damage phases, try to activate Shot Caller before you commit to using your heavy weapons. Alright, now we arrive at Oryx. If you're familiar with this encounter, skip ahead to where I go over the Pantheon-specific changes and team strategies. For a quick encounter refresher, assign everyone a role. 4 players will be assigned to a plate to round the arena, and 2 players will be floaters, 1 in each area. Those assigned to plates, you are in charge of standing on them when told to do so. Each round, one of the plates will glow green, signifying it as the starting plate. The person assigned to it steps on it and calls out to wherever the little Toland orb is in the sky, above one of the other plates. The person assigned to that plate jumps on, and now you'll see floating platforms appear. Whoever was randomly chosen to be torn between dimensions, your job is to jump from platform to platform until you reach the orb. On the first 2 rounds, you'll just have to pass through the orb. On the 3rd round, you must interact with it to get the Brand Claimer buff. Whenever you become torn, immediately start heading to the starting plate, as that is where the lowest platforms will be. If the player assigned to the plate was the torn player, then it's where your floater will come in. For that round, they will take over responsibilities for that plate. During this whole platform building section, do not get off your plates or get on them in the wrong order. Only step off them when someone gets the orb. While all of this is going on, you'll have Light Eater Ogres spawning in the pools next to the plates. They spawn counterclockwise from Oryx and should be killed immediately, as when defeated they will drop a Corrupted Light Blight Bomb. If you step inside its dome for a couple of seconds, it will charge and detonate, stunning Oryx, but also killing your whole team unless you have the Aura of Immortality. To not accidentally detonate them, defeat the ogres quickly so they stay in the corner. Once the ogres are defeated, Light Eater Knights will now spawn on their diagonals and head towards those blights and consume them. You want to kill those knights before that, as the more bombs you detonate, the longer your damage phase will be. For triggering the damage phase, whoever was the third player to be torn between dimensions will obtain the Brand Claimer buff. Hunt down the Immortal Knight that should spawn in the middle, interact with them, steal their aura, and defeat them. All other players in charge of a plate go stand near your bomb by your plate, outside the dome. Once Oryx slams his fist and calls upon the darkness, give a quick countdown and have all players stand in their bombs. When you see your name in the kill feed saying you detonated it, quickly return to the middle where the player with the Aura of Immortality should be standing. If a player assigned to a plate had the aura, have their floater assume bomb responsibilities instead. Once they detonate, the damage phase will begin. Once he goes immune, return to your assigned positions, so near a plate or middle aisle, and prepare for one of two mechanics. If Oryx comes close to the Dreadnought, he'll summon a giant blight players dub the Thunderdome. One at a time, players will get teleported inside to destroy a shade of Oryx. If you fail to do so by the time all players get teleported inside, it'll be a wipe. If Oryx instead moves away from the Dreadnought, he's going to rain down a bunch of bombs for roughly 30 seconds. To easily avoid them, just have the players assigned to a plate run around them, and the floaters keep running up and down their aisles. If you want to end this part early, you can do so by defeating the knights that spawn on each of the 4 plates. Once either mechanic ends, just grab ammo and prepare to start again. If you instead reached Oryx's gated final stand bar, move up a bit toward the front of the ship. Quickly take out the ogre that'll spawn on the right, then the left, and get prepared for damage. Assign one player that is not the player with the Brand of Immortality to activate the bombs one at a time. Wait to step inside until you see the Oryx calls upon the darkness text in the kill feed, then activate it and return to your team. Once it detonates, then move to the second bomb and repeat. For everyone else, just stand your ground and shoot Oryx until he's dead. Now, let's go over the Pantheon specific changes. First, you'll notice multiple types of enemies will have elemental shields. The knights on the plates will have solar, acolytes will have void, and both the Centurions and Light Eater Knights will have arc. Change number 2, the Light Eater Knights will now keep respawning, so you'll have to keep monitoring the areas they spawn in to protect your Blight Bomb so you can prolong your damage phase. Everyone should help out, but the floater has the most responsibility. Change 3 is the addition of a lovable Tormentor. Shortly after the damage phase starts, a Tormentor will spawn on a random side of the arena in the center aisle. While you could ignore them since you are immortal, I highly recommend that you don't so that the majority of the squad can focus on damage. For simplicity, assign a player the job of taking the Tormentor out. Since they aren't boss ranked, they are susceptible to all CC abilities, so Suspend is quite good, as well as Freeze, Blind, and Suppression. Strand Titans make dealing with them easy, but anyone can take the job. To quickly pop their shoulder crits, use Forerunner or perhaps a Sniper or Linear Fusion. Whoever does this task, make sure you aren't the one with the Brand of Immortality, as that'll make the Tormentor and Thrall extra annoying for the team dealing damage. For the 4th change, there will be an extra shade of Oryx whenever you get the Thunderdome mechanic. They are quite tanky, so find them and take them out quickly. Turning to damage, remember you have the Shot Caller modifier, so get a few crits with your primary before you commit to any heavy weapon DPS. For supers, one Will of Radiance is enough, and then followed by as many ranged burst damage options, so Nighthawk Golden Gun or Needle Storm. Otherwise, for weapon damage, this is where Whisper of the Worm shines. Easy to use, no reloads, and insane total damage. If you for some reason don't have it, which you should since it is free, use a linear like Cataclysmic or Sleeper, or a rocket rotation with Gallowhorn. No matter the strategy, make sure you have ammo for Final Stand. While you can one-phase Oryx, two-phase is the norm and quite easy to do. So stay alive, communicate, and that should easily reward you the Platinum Clear and high score. So, best of luck to you running the Pantheon this week. If you have any other questions or advice for your fellow Guardian, leave them down in the comments. And make sure you talk to our site before you leave if you want to spend your spoils on some raid loot. You have access to Deepstone Crypt gear, as well as the normal and adept weapons from King's Fall. Otherwise, make sure you like today's video, subscribe for future Destiny guides, and come check out the Sundog Gaming Discord if you have any other questions about Destiny. As always, I'm your Commander Pika. Be kind, have fun, and I'll see you on the battlefield.